I'm Gordon Smith. I'm with Hampshire County Council, the Blue Badge Service. I head up the Blue Badge Service, but also the enforcement leg of it. So that's what I've been doing. I've been doing that since 2005. It's evolved, obviously, and it's grown in all sorts of directions, become very complex. Well, with the new legislation coming out with effect from the 31st of August, it's a big topic for everybody. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on this right from back in 2016, so we've got a lot of experience with it. Having said that, I'm aware that we've got a diverse audience here in terms of even the local authorities, some of them much smaller than others and so on. So the way people do things, it does vary. But what I'm hoping is, because it was a collaborative effort with the help of DFT initially, that there'll be something for everybody, including DWP and suppliers, etc., etc. I'm going to give some background, first of all, as to how the whole thing happened, how we overcame it, how we developed some interim guidance, how we've been applying that interim guidance, and then some challenges with regard to what this hidden disabilities, the challenges that we face with it, because there are some significant challenges which could actually undermine the integrity of the Blue Badge scheme. It could actually make things difficult for the customer, and it actually could be a risk around reputation for local authorities, because there's so many areas where people can get things wrong. So that is a key thing. And then I also want to highlight the impact on enforcement from a fraud perspective and so on, because it does escalate quite significantly as a result of the new legislation, based on our enforcement figures. The key thing is that they need to manage this thing very carefully. At the end of the day, a limited number of applicants should qualify, not every applicant. It's about severity of the disability or condition. It needs to be a severe situation, and it needs to impact them in a way that, in terms of when they're out and about, they are extremely difficult to manage, and there's risk of harm and distress and so on, and they need to have significant evidence to prove that, because of the subjectivity. The key thing is there's a subjectivity element. One person has the same condition as another person, but the one's stoic and the other one's not, and so the way they talk about their condition is completely different. And somehow, with the evidence, you as Hannah spoke about earlier, driving away inconsistencies and so on, you've got to come to as robust a decision as possible, and it is tricky. The thing is, you've got to take things into account, like the London boroughs, for instance, where we've got congestion charges. You're going to have applicants applying to try and get by the congestion charges. You don't necessarily have that out in the sticks, as I would call it, in the more rural areas like Hampshire and Kent and so on. So we will have a much lower refusal rate, but you might have a much higher refusal rate in some of the London boroughs. And the way they apply the legislation, as long as they are applying the legislation and interpreting it in the context of the challenges and the risks that they face, and being fair to the customer. At the end of the day, you've got a vulnerable customer, you've got to be fair to them. And it's about bringing those three things: the integrity of the system, reputation of the council, but most importantly, the looking after and care for the customer.